What if the only reason you're not living the life you want is because you keep focusing on everything you don't want? Think about it. Every single day you're thinking, thousands of thoughts running through your mind, and most of them, without you realizing, are pointing in the direction of fear, doubt, failure, regret, pain, or disappointment. You wake up already thinking about what could go wrong. You carry conversations in your head that never happened. You rehearse the worst-case scenarios and call it being realistic. But the truth is, your mind is listening. Every single thought is a command, a signal, a blueprint. And it doesn't judge. It doesn't ask if that thought will help you. It just obeys. If you tell your mind you're not good enough, it will find proof. If you focus on what you lack, it will filter out everything you already have. And if you constantly think about what you fear, your life will start to reflect that fear back to you. This isn't magic. It's how your brain is wired. What you focus on, intensely and repeatedly, you begin to attract, not because the world changes, but because you change. Your filters change. Your decisions change. Your energy shifts. And when you shift, the world responds. You stop seeing opportunities when your mind is trained to expect failure. You stop recognizing love when your focus is rooted in past pain. You ignore growth when your attention is chained to your limitations. Your focus becomes your prison or your passport. So the real question isn't what do I want? The real question is what am I focusing on? Because what you focus on, you move toward. What you focus on, you start to believe. And what you believe, you start to live. Focus is not just mental attention, it's emotional commitment. If you keep focusing on your past, you relive it. If you keep focusing on your fears, you reinforce them. But if you start focusing on your goals, your values, your growth, everything begins to change. Right now you have a choice. Keep feeding the thoughts that have brought you pain, or begin shifting your energy towards something greater. You're not stuck. You're just mentally committed to the wrong direction. But the moment you shift your focus, you shift your life. You'll start to notice things you never saw before. You'll attract different people, make different choices, feel different emotions, and most importantly, you'll begin to align with the future you actually want, not the one you fear. Stay with this message, because if you've ever felt like you're lost, overwhelmed, or invisible, the solution isn't more effort. It's more clarity. The power to change your life isn't out there. It's in the one thing you control every second, your focus. And the deeper you understand this, the faster everything around you begins to transform. What you focus, you attract. Shift your focus, and you will shift your world. Your mind is not just a container of thoughts, it is a machine of creation. Every thought you allow, every image you replay, every emotion you fuel, is an instruction being delivered to the deepest part of you. It doesn't matter whether you're thinking it with intention or by habit, your mind takes it seriously. And whatever you think about with emotion, you move toward with power. This is why nothing changes until your focus does. You can set goals, make plans, read books, and dream big, but if your daily focus is still wrapped around fear, pain, and insecurity, you will keep cycling through the same patterns. You cannot grow with a mind full of what went wrong. You cannot rise while anchoring yourself to what you've lost. And you will never attract the life you want while constantly focusing on everything that's missing. Your focus is the seed. Your reality is the fruit. What are you planting every day? Are you planting lack, worry, self-doubt? If you plant struggle, you harvest stress. If you plant gratitude, you harvest joy. If you plant discipline, you harvest freedom. Your thoughts are not innocent. They are investments. And if you don't consciously choose what to invest in, your mind will invest in your past by default. That's why you feel stuck. It's not because you're not capable. It's because your focus is stuck on a version of you that's already expired. The real version of you, the one with clarity, courage, and strength, is buried under years of misdirected focus. But it's still there, waiting. And the moment you decide to stop giving your energy to your limitations, that version of you begins to rise. Your future is not shaped by chance, it is shaped by focus. And every day you are writing the next chapter of your life by what you dwell on. What if you started waking up and deliberately choosing what your mind will serve? What if, instead of scanning for what's wrong, you trained your thoughts to find what's possible? What if you stopped repeating the thoughts that drain you and started rehearsing the ones that build you. This isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about refusing to give more power to your pain than to your potential. Most people live like victims of their thoughts, not realizing they are the architects. But the second you take back your focus, you take back your power. You begin to command your energy. You begin to move differently, speak differently, think differently. And that shift creates a vibration the world can't ignore. You won't have to chase the life you want. It will begin aligning with you. That's what happens when your inner world reflects the future you've decided to build. Right now, your focus is your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. Choose what you give your attention to as if your life depends on it, because it does. Train your mind to see only what moves you forward. Everything else is noise. Let it go. You don't get what you want. You get what you focus on. And what you focus on is not just about what you think. It's about what you emotionally engage with, what you react to, what you give space to in your inner world. Most people don't realize how many times they reinforce the very life they say they're trying to escape. They focus on failure more than progress. They obsess over rejection more than growth. They give more energy to the people who hurt them than to the possibilities waiting ahead. And then they wonder why life feels stuck in the same loop. But that loop isn't fate, it's focus. It's the result of handing your attention over to what drains you instead of what develops you. Every thought repeated becomes a belief. And every belief becomes a filter. Once that filter is in place, it shapes what you see, how you feel, and what you expect. If your filter is broken, your life will always feel broken, no matter how much potential surrounds you. That's why the most urgent work isn't changing your circumstances. It's changing the way you see. It's taking control of your mental lens and deciding with full force to lock on to what builds you. Focus is not passive. It's a weapon. And if you don't aim it with intention, it will be used against you. You've been told to stay positive, to think better thoughts. But this isn't about surface-level optimism. This is about rewiring the core of how you live. This is about understanding that every time you entertain a thought, you're giving it permission to grow. You're handing it power. And not every thought deserves that. Some thoughts are planted by fear, some by insecurity, some by people who couldn't see your worth. You do not owe those thoughts a home in your mind. You owe it to yourself to replace them with something stronger, something that serves your growth, your vision, your strength. The mind, once trained, becomes your greatest ally. But if left untrained, it becomes a silent enemy. It will cling to the past. It will fixate on pain. It will keep looping scenes you should have let go of years ago. And it will keep doing it until you interrupt it, until you interrupt yourself. Because nothing changes until you change what you allow to stay. You must become the gatekeeper of your own mind. You must become ruthless with your focus. Every second spent on what you cannot control, what you've already outgrown, or what steals your peace, is a second stolen from the life you could be building. Right now, your future is forming in the shadows of your attention. Feed fear, and it grows. Feed strength, and it expands. Feed distraction, and you'll lose direction. Feed purpose, and you'll become unstoppable. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are just one shift of focus away from everything you've been waiting for. Take it. Your mind is always searching for evidence to support what you focus on. It filters reality to match your dominant thoughts. And that's not just a mental habit, it's a survival mechanism. If you focus on fear, your mind will highlight every possible threat. If you focus on growth, it will start pointing you to every opportunity to evolve. What you constantly think about becomes the lens through which you see everything. And that lens can either blur your vision or sharpen it. It can distort what's possible or reveal the truth that's been waiting to be seen. You don't need more potential. You don't need more time. What you need is a cleaner lens, a sharper focus, because right now your future is hidden behind the fog of misaligned attention. You can't expect peace while focusing on chaos. You can't expect progress while fixating on what's broken. And you can't expect to rise while keeping your gaze locked on everything that's pulling you down. It doesn't matter how hard you work. If your focus is poisoned, your results will suffer. Focus is the silent architect of your destiny. It decides what gets built and what gets destroyed. It determines what you notice, what you believe, what you pursue, and ultimately what you attract. Nothing steals your power faster than scattered attention. When your mind is split between regrets of the past and worries of the future, you lose the one place where change is possible, now. And the more you stay stuck in that mental tug-of-war, the more drained you feel. Not because life is too hard, but because your energy is bleeding into 1,000 directions that don't serve you. You must reclaim that energy. You must bring your attention back into alignment with your highest self. That's where your strength lives. That's where your clarity lives. That's where real transformation begins. You are being guided moment by what you focus on. Whether you realize it or not, your thoughts are creating a path beneath your feet. The more you focus on growth, the more that path becomes clear. The more you focus on strength, the more doors begin to open. You don't have to force everything into place. You just have to direct your mind toward what empowers you and allow your energy to follow. That shift changes everything, not overnight, but unshakably. This is your power. This is your responsibility. No one can choose your focus but you, and the world you're trying to reach won't be found through noise, distractions, or negativity. It will only respond to the version of you who is fully locked in, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The one who refuses to be ruled by fear. The one who decides every day to give attention only to what aligns with their vision. Everything else is static. Let it fade. Tune your mind to the frequency of growth, strength, purpose, and you will start attracting everything that belongs to that signal. The world will respond the moment you do. Your focus is not just shaping your thoughts, it's sculpting your identity. Who you believe you are is a direct reflection of what you give attention to every day. If you constantly focus on failure, your mind begins to accept that identity. If you repeat thoughts like, I'm not enough, I always mess things up, or nothing ever works for me, your brain doesn't argue. It builds a version of you around those beliefs. And over time, that version becomes the truth you live, not because it's real, but because it's reinforced. Identity is not fixed. It is fluid. And focus is the hand that molds it.
You are not your past. You are not your mistakes.
You are not the opinions that have been thrown at you. You are what you focus on consistently and emotionally. That is the real you taking shape. The mind is always listening, always recording, always recalibrating based on the signals you send. If you focus on weakness, your mind will seek out more of it. If you focus on resilience, it will dig deep to prove you're stronger than you think. And the shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens by decision. It happens the moment you stop feeding the identity that holds you back and start fueling the one that pulls you forward. Focus creates patterns. Patterns become personality. And personality becomes destiny. So if you want to change your life, you must change what you repeatedly give your energy to. Not sometimes, not when it's convenient, but every single day. You are not here to repeat the same mental habits that broke you. You are here to rise above them. You are here to become the version of yourself you keep imagining when no one's watching. That version is not a fantasy. It's a frequency. And you tune into it by what you think about, what you speak about, and what you refuse to entertain anymore. Every time you reject an old pattern and choose a new focus, you are not just changing a thought. You are rewriting your identity. You are becoming the future version of yourself in real time. That's how powerful you are. That's how close change actually is. Stop giving attention to the parts of you that no longer fit who you're becoming. Stop giving energy to limitations that were planted in you by fear. You are not bound by what you were told. You are not confined by where you started.
The only thing deciding your identity from this moment forward is what you choose to focus on.
And that choice is available to you right now. Not when life gets easier. Not when everything feels perfect. Now, in this breath, in this thought. Your identity is a mirror held up by your focus. Want to see someone powerful, someone capable, someone unstoppable? Then look into that mirror and direct your focus toward the strength already inside you. Because the second you believe it, your actions will follow. And so will everything you've been waiting for. There is a version of you that exists beyond distraction, beyond fear, beyond noise. A version that isn't pulled in every direction by the demands of the world, but instead moves with precision, with clarity, with unstoppable purpose. The only thing standing between you and that version is focus. Pure, unshakable focus. But in today's world, attention is constantly under attack. You're being pulled into meaningless comparisons, toxic conversations, and thoughts that serve no purpose but to drain you. And every time you give your attention away, you give your power with it. It's not just about being busy. It's about being busy with what doesn't matter. And that is the silent enemy of your growth. Your energy is not infinite. Every thought you entertain is either building your future or stealing from it. Every time you indulge in negativity, every time you dwell on someone else's opinion, every time you react to distractions, you are paying with the most valuable currency you have, your focus. And you can never get that time back. But you can take it back starting now. You can decide that your attention is sacred. You can protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future is being written by the thoughts you choose to feed and the noise you choose to silence. When your mind is cluttered, your vision becomes cloudy. You forget who you are. You forget what you're capable of. You forget why you even started. That's not weakness. That's misalignment. The mind cannot operate at its highest level when it's drowning in low-level distractions. You need clarity, and clarity is a result of elimination. Eliminate what doesn't serve your focus, and suddenly your path becomes visible again. Not because the world changed, but because you stopped allowing the wrong things to dominate your attention. You don't need more time. You need more alignment. You don't need more motivation. You need more protection over what you allow into your mental space. Start filtering everything, every conversation, every notification, every thought through one question. Does this strengthen my focus or weaken it? If it weakens it, it has no place in your life. Not now. Not ever. Because your dreams are too big, your potential is too powerful, and your time is too precious to waste. The mind thrives in silence. It sharpens in stillness. It expands in space. Give it that gift. Create a mental environment where only growth is allowed. Speak only what aligns with your goals. Think only what fuels your direction. Watch how quickly your energy shifts when you stop allowing distractions to rob you of your clarity. You will feel it, the power of mental freedom, the surge of locked-in purpose, the peace that comes when your mind is finally clear. You are not meant to be scattered. You are not meant to be controlled by noise. You are meant to be precise, focused, intentional. Take your power back by taking your focus back. Because once you do, nothing can stop what you are becoming. You don't need to chase what already belongs to the person you're becoming. The moment your focus aligns with your vision, life stops being a struggle for progress and starts becoming a pull toward purpose. That's the power of internal alignment. When what you think, feel, and act upon all move in the same direction. The noise falls away. The doubts lose their grip. The distractions shrink because your purpose becomes louder than your fear. But that alignment only happens when your focus becomes intentional. You can't afford to live another day on autopilot. You can't afford to keep reacting to life and calling it reality. Because reality bends to the focus of a disciplined mind. And when your inner world is locked in, the outside world has no choice but to follow. Every goal you have is just a reflection of who you're becoming. And who you're becoming is being shaped right now by where your focus lives. If your attention is still chained to the old you, the one who settled, doubted, hesitated, then no matter how big your dreams are, your decisions will shrink to match your past. But when you decide that your focus no longer belongs to your fears, everything begins to shift. You stop identifying with your limitations and start rising with your potential. You stop responding from memory and start acting from vision. That's how transformation begins. Not with a perfect plan, but with a perfect focus. One that's not distracted by what was, but driven by what can be. Clarity is not a luxury. It's your responsibility. And clarity only comes when you decide what matters most. And give it everything, not some of your time, not occasional motivation, everything, your full presence, your complete energy, your focused attention. Because the life you want won't come from half effort or divided loyalty. It demands your best, and your best starts with focus. When your mind is clean, your goals are clear. When your focus is fierce, your steps are fearless. Stop waiting for the world to validate your path. Stop seeking permission to be powerful. You don't need approval to focus. You don't need applause to believe. You just need to shut out everything that pulls you away from what matters and lock in. Breathe in discipline. Breathe out distraction. Own your space. Own your mind. Own your future. Because the minute you stop giving your focus to what weakens you, your power becomes undeniable. People will feel it. Circumstances will shift. Momentum will build. Not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. You were never meant to be average. You were never built for confusion. You were made for sharpness, for depth, for vision. And it all begins the moment you stop letting the external world control your internal focus. Take it back. Channel it. Protect it. And let it build a life so aligned, so powerful, that even your past would not recognize you. That is what you attract when your focus becomes unshakable. If your mind is a battlefield, then your focus is your greatest weapon. The direction you point it determines whether you win or lose, grow or shrink, rise or remain buried. Every thought you allow is either sharpening your edge or dulling your will. You don't lose your future in one moment. You lose it in 1,000 small distractions, in quiet moments of doubt, and giving your energy to things that do not build you. What you repeatedly focus on is what you slowly become. And if you don't take full command of that focus, life will do it for you. The world will hand you fears, hand you noise, hand you reasons to stay small. But you weren't created to live reactive. You were made to live intentional, to think with clarity, to move with power, to direct every ounce of your attention toward becoming someone unstoppable. No one rises by accident. You rise by design. And design begins with what you allow to live in your mind. Most people wait for motivation, but the truly driven know that focus is motivation. What you focus on becomes your reason, your fire, your fuel. Focus on your growth and you'll find discipline. Focus on your why and you'll find energy even when you're exhausted. Focus on who you can become and you'll stop bowing to who you used to be. You don't need more time, more talent, or more luck. You need a relentless commitment to direct your thoughts like a laser, not letting them wander, not giving them to distractions, locking them in and holding them there until the shift happens. Your life is waiting on the other side of that decision. The decision to stop giving your best energy to temporary emotions. The decision to stop entertaining thoughts that leave you weaker. The decision to discipline your focus even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when your past screams louder than your future. Because when your focus becomes stronger than your feelings, you become unstoppable. You stop needing permission. You stop waiting for signs. You stop hesitating. You begin to move with a sense of knowing, a silent confidence that comes not from who you are, but from who you are becoming through your focus. This is not about perfection. This is about alignment. You're getting your mind, your heart, and your actions to speak the same language. And that language is focus. Speak it daily. Practice it relentlessly. Master it like your life depends on it, because it does. Every dream you have, every version of yourself you see in your mind, every level you haven't reached yet, it's all waiting behind your attention. Direct it wisely. Choose it fiercely. Guard it like your future is locked inside it, because it is. You attract what you focus on. You become what you repeat. And you build a legacy not through noise, not through chaos, but through clear, unshakable, focused action. Let that be your standard. Let that be your truth. Let that be your next level. You don't rise by reacting. You rise by deciding. Every time you wait to feel ready, you surrender your future to hesitation. But the strongest people don't wait to feel motivated. They choose their focus and move with it, because they understand that feelings can't always be trusted, but focus can be trained. And once it's trained, it becomes your compass. It gives you direction when emotions are uncertain. It gives you clarity when life gets messy. It gives you control when everything around you feels chaotic. That kind of focus doesn't come from wishing, it comes from discipline. And discipline is not restriction, it's freedom. The freedom to choose your path instead of being pulled by everything that's trying to own your mind. You are not meant to live in mental chaos. You are meant to live with inner authority. But that authority must be earned. It comes from consistently refusing to feed the thoughts that weaken you, from deliberately choosing to put your attention on what strengthens you. It's the quiet refusal to surrender to distraction, to drama, to old habits that no longer match your purpose. The more you practice this, the stronger you become. And strength of focus creates strength of identity. You stop identifying with your doubts and start embodying your power. Every minute you spend aligning your focus is a minute invested in your evolution. Every second you choose intention over impulse, your future shifts. This is the truth most people never realize. You don't need to overhaul your life in one leap. You just need to change what you consistently give your mind to. Because once your focus aligns with your vision, your actions follow. And when your actions align, your life cannot stay the same. It starts to reflect who you become internally. Opportunities match your mindset. People match your purpose. Energy matches your discipline. Not because the world changed, but because you finally did. And if you've been feeling lost, if you've been questioning your worth, your direction, your strength, it's not because you're broken. It's because your focus has been borrowed. Stolen by things that don't deserve your energy. Taken by habits that don't reflect your future. But you can take it back right now, in this moment. Not by force, but by decision. Decide to start noticing what empowers you. Decide to start acting only on what feeds your highest self. Decide to remove anything, thoughts, voices, distractions that shrink you. This is where it all begins. Not in your schedule, not in your environment, in your focus. Because once you control that, you control everything. The world stops being overwhelming, the past stops being a weight, the future stops being uncertain, and your life starts becoming a reflection of your deepest intention. You attract what you focus on, you become what you consistently choose to see, and you rise when you stop feeding everything that keeps you small. Your power has always been in your focus. Now is the time to reclaim it, completely, relentlessly. Permanently. Nothing is more expensive than a distracted mind. You can have the intelligence, the talent, even the ambition. But if your focus is scattered, none of it will carry you forward. Focus is the silent force behind momentum. Without it, your energy leaks into every corner of life that doesn't matter. Without it, your potential goes unused. You become busy but unproductive, tired but unfulfilled, surrounded but disconnected. When your mind is divided, your power is diluted. But when your focus becomes singular, your impact becomes undeniable. Everything changes when your mind becomes disciplined enough to say no to everything that doesn't align. The world rewards clarity. It responds to those who know exactly where they are going and refuse to look away. You don't get to that level by chance. You get there by protecting your focus like it's sacred. You learn to silence the noise, even when it's loud. You learn to turn down the volume on fear, doubt, and negativity. You learn to starve distractions by feeding purpose. That's the discipline most never master, not because they're weak, but because they never realized how much was being stolen from them in the silence. Every scroll, every doubt, every second given to something meaningless robs you of what you could have become. But when you wake up to that truth, you reclaim what's yours, your time, your direction, your destiny. Discipline is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters with relentless consistency. It's about removing what drains you so your focus becomes a laser. You can't build an extraordinary life with a scattered mind. You must become precise. You must be willing to remove even good things if they're not aligned with the great things you're here to do. Every yes to distraction is a no to your higher self. Every moment given to doubt is time taken from your evolution. Focus is the choice to protect your power, and power grows when it is focused on the right target. You have to train your mind to lock in on the vision, not the noise. The moment you decide that your future matters more than temporary relief, you stop negotiating with excuses. You stop making room for patterns that don't serve you. You stop explaining your limitations and start expressing your potential. That shift in focus will feel uncomfortable. It will feel unfamiliar. But it is the price of greatness. It is the path of alignment. And it is worth everything. Your energy is your currency. Spend it on what builds you. Spend it on what stretches you. Spend it on what elevates you. Because the life you desire is not waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to be focused, ruthlessly, unapologetically, consistently. Choose that level of discipline and the world will rise to meet your direction. Not because you forced it, because you finally became impossible to ignore. That is the reward of pure, unwavering focus. That is the version of you the world has been waiting to see. You attract whatever you're emotionally loyal to. That's the hidden law shaping your life, not your wishes, not your goals, your emotional loyalty. And your emotions follow your focus. If you give your energy to worry, your life will multiply stress. If you give your energy to limitation, you will keep running into invisible walls. You will repeat situations not because you're cursed or unlucky, but because your focus is magnetizing them. You're drawing them into your life through the emotional patterns you won't let go of. This is why healing begins with shifting focus. This is why progress begins when you stop worshiping what broke you. You are not chained to your past. You're chained to the emotions you keep feeding with your attention. Starve them, and they die. Shift your focus, and the whole system begins to rewire itself. Everything that controls you only has power because you keep feeding it mentally. The fear, the overthinking, the insecurity, they don't live outside you. They survive because you keep pouring focus into them. But you can break that pattern today. You can withdraw your loyalty. You can decide that your energy is no longer available for thoughts that don't serve your highest self. You can emotionally commit to what builds you. Because once your focus shifts, your feelings follow. And when your feelings change, your behavior changes. When your behavior changes, your life moves in a new direction. That's how transformation works. Not in a flash of inspiration, but in a series of focused decisions that become your new identity. The mind adapts to what you repeat. It memorizes patterns. It automates what you give it most. If you repeat doubt, the mind learns to expect failure. If you repeat power, the mind learns to expect progress. You have trained it every day, either by default or by design. And the beauty of the mind is that it can always be trained again. It can be renewed, rewritten, redirected. But that training only begins when you take back your focus from everything that drains it. That means protecting your space. That means setting a standard so high that anything unworthy of your energy is immediately rejected. Not later, not maybe, but immediately. Because your peace is sacred. Your power is non-negotiable. You rise when you become emotionally loyal to your vision. You rise when your mind and heart agree on what matters. You rise when your focus becomes so pure that distractions no longer tempt you. That's when life begins to respond differently, not because everything gets easier, but because you become someone who no longer breaks under pressure, someone who no longer bends for comfort, someone who no longer needs approval. You become someone the old version of you couldn't recognize, all because you made the choice to shift your focus, and that one choice becomes the foundation of everything you're building. This is how you stop chasing and start attracting. This is how you win from the inside out. You cannot attract peace while entertaining chaos. You cannot become powerful while giving constant attention to weakness. The life you're trying to build is already responding to your mental discipline, or the lack of it. Every outcome is a reflection of what your focus has allowed. And what you allow, you invite. Your future is not built on the promises you make to yourself once in a while. It's built on the mental patterns you tolerate every single day. What you dwell on determines what grows. If your focus feeds fear, fear expands. If it feeds faith, strength rises. The mind is not a passive observer. It is an active creator. You are either building from clarity or from confusion. And what you build becomes the world you wake up in. You are not just shaping your life, you are shaping who you are within it. Focus creates identity, and identity drives behavior. If your focus is always looking back, your identity becomes trapped in what you were. But when your focus is fixed forward, you begin to embody who you are becoming. You start walking, thinking, speaking like the future version of yourself. That version isn't just a vision, it's a decision. It's a commitment to align your attention with your values, not your moods. Discipline is not about forcing action. It's about focusing your mind so clearly that action becomes natural, automatic, unstoppable. Not because it's easy, but because you've trained your thoughts to support your evolution, not sabotage it. You can feel the difference when your focus is locked in. You stop chasing opinions. You stop needing noise. You stop reacting to every wave that hits your shore. You become grounded, calm, direct. There's a quiet confidence in those who have mastered their focus. They don't need to prove anything. They don't seek approval. They don't get shaken by temporary emotions. They move with a deeper purpose because their attention isn't scattered across 100 things that don't matter. It's dialed in, intentional, pure, that's the version of you that begins to attract new outcomes. Not because you forced change, but because you became change. Your focus carved a new identity, and that identity demanded a new reality. The world can only give you what your mind is ready to hold, and your mind can only hold what your focus has prepared it to believe. If you want more, build the capacity to hold more. Create mental space for higher outcomes by letting go of the low-level thinking you've outgrown. Let go of self-pity. Let go of delay. Let go of guilt for choosing yourself. You don't need permission to evolve. You need permission to let go of everything that blocks your focus. Right now, in this moment, you are either aligning with your future or defending your past. There is no in-between. Focus decides which direction you walk in, and every step you take is shaping your life, not someday, right now. Choose wisely. Choose fully. Choose power. Your breakthrough isn't waiting in the future. It's hiding behind the thoughts you keep repeating. The mind doesn't change by accident. It changes by force, by repetition, by conscious redirection. Whatever you keep feeding grows. Whatever you keep rehearsing becomes real. You cannot create a powerful life while letting powerless thoughts live rent-free in your head. Every thought that tells you you're not enough, every image of failure you replay, every reason you hold on to why it can't work, that is all borrowed noise. It is not your truth. Your truth is quiet. It's focused. It doesn't beg for attention. It demands alignment. The real you is buried under layers of distraction, doubt, and fear, but it's not lost. It's waiting for your focus to come home. You don't need to feel ready. You need to be willing. Willing to stop giving attention to what steals your peace. Willing to silence the voice that says not yet. Willing to focus like your future is counting on you because it is. Every second spent focused on limitation is a second wasted from creation. You can't build anything while staring at the walls of your past. Growth requires attention. It requires you to zoom in on progress, not problems. Possibility, not pain. What you focus on teaches your brain what to look for. If all you see is what's missing, your mind will keep you blind to what's already within reach. But when you shift that lens even slightly, the world responds in ways you never imagined. Not because reality changes, but because you do. You are not here to survive your thoughts. You are here to lead them, to teach your mind how to serve your vision, not sabotage it. And leadership begins with focus. Every time you choose to focus on your purpose instead of your problems, you are leading your life forward. Every time you choose to hold your attention steady while the world tries to pull you in 100 directions, you are creating inner dominance. That is where power begins, not outside, but within. In the space between distraction and decision. In the pause between reaction and clarity. That's where the strongest version of you is built. Mental freedom isn't about escaping pressure. It's about learning to stay focused under it. To remain clear when everything tries to blur your vision, to keep your attention locked on what matters even when your emotions scream otherwise. That's where transformation happens, not when it's easy, but when it's hardest and you stay centered anyway. That discipline, that focus is rare, and because it's rare, it creates results that most never reach. You are not average. You were not born to live distracted, overwhelmed, and uncertain. You were born to think with clarity, to walk with direction, to rise with purpose. But it only happens when you finally decide to stop feeding what weakens you and fully lock in to what builds you. Make that choice, guard it, live it, and watch everything change. Everything you want begins in the silence of your own mind. Not the silence of doing nothing, but the silence of mental alignment. When your thoughts are no longer fighting each other, when your energy isn't being drained by overthinking, when your focus is no longer scattered by what doesn't matter. That is where your power hides. That is where clarity is born. Until your mind becomes quiet, your direction will stay confused. Until your focus becomes clean, your effort will feel heavy. It's not that you lack motivation. It's that your attention is being hijacked by noise. Thoughts that don't serve you, emotions that don't reflect your truth, distractions that disguise themselves as importance. The moment you cut the cord to what pulls your focus away from who you are becoming, your mind begins to clear. And a clear mind makes powerful decisions. You don't rise by doing more. You rise by thinking less about what doesn't align. You stop feeding worry. You stop repeating old doubts. You stop wasting mental energy on opinions that don't belong in your vision. The mind was never designed to carry everything. It was designed to focus, to cut through the noise and hold steady on what matters most. That's how confidence is created, not by proving anything, but by deciding what no longer deserves your attention. And when you decide that, you create space. Space to think better, space to feel stronger, space to become the version of you who no longer needs permission to grow. If your thoughts were a mirror, what would they reveal? Would they reflect strength or insecurity, possibility or fear, alignment or chaos? Your life is always a reflection of what your mind is rehearsing. The actions you take, the habits you keep, the risks you avoid, all of it flows from your dominant focus. You cannot outwork a scattered mind. You cannot find peace while entertaining mental noise. You must become deliberate. You must become ruthless about protecting your mental energy, because what you don't protect will be consumed. And once consumed, it takes even more effort to regain. Every great change starts with a decision to reclaim focus. Not someday, not when life slows down, but now, right here, in this moment. This is where your power begins, not in control over everything, but in control over one thing, your attention. What you focus on, you feed. What you feed, you feel. What you feel, you become. And what you become determines what you attract. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's alignment. The kind of alignment that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't collapse under pressure. It simply holds, quietly, powerfully, unshakably. Your future is not waiting for a better day. It's waiting for a cleaner mind, a focused soul, a heart that refuses to give its energy to anything less than purpose. Take that back. Breathe into that. Live from that place. And everything that once felt out of reach will begin moving toward you because you finally move toward yourself. There is a quiet strength that comes from being fully aligned with your focus. Not a loud, desperate push for success, but a steady, unshakable inner knowing. When your mind is anchored in clarity, your steps become lighter. Your choices become bolder. You no longer waste energy second-guessing yourself. You move with intention. You protect your energy. You no longer entertain thoughts that don't match the person you are becoming, and because of that, you begin to shift, not just in your habits, but in your identity. Focus rewrites how you see yourself. When you focus on your strength, you start acting like someone who is strong. When you focus on growth, you begin showing up as someone who expects progress. This is not delusion. This is design. You are always becoming what you consistently give your attention to. Most people live as a reaction. They absorb the noise of the world and let it mold their decisions. They let fear write their script. They let comparison direct their energy. They let every distraction chip away at their confidence. And they wonder why nothing changes. Change doesn't come from doing more. It comes from thinking different, from choosing your thoughts the way you choose your future, with intention, with discipline, with purpose. You cannot control everything, but you can control what you mentally obey. You can decide what voice gets your energy. You can decide which beliefs get to stay. And the moment you do, you reclaim your direction. Mental freedom is the power to focus only on what empowers you. It is not about never facing fear. It's about refusing to serve it. It's about recognizing when your mind is drifting into territory that weakens you and choosing to bring it back. Again and again, not perfectly, but intentionally. That is how you build inner strength. You train your thoughts to move with your vision instead of against it. You build new mental habits, not by force, but by focus. And focus is a skill that grows the more you practice it. You already know what drains you. You already know what thoughts pull you backward. The problem is not awareness, it's permission. You keep allowing your energy to flow toward what doesn't deserve it. You keep giving space to doubt, to noise, to what-ifs that never lead anywhere. But you can choose differently now. You can choose to become unavailable for everything that disturbs your peace. You can decide that your attention is too valuable to be wasted on anything that doesn't match your purpose. And when you make that decision fully, your life begins to feel different. There's no magic in this, only mastery. Mastery of attention, mastery of thought, mastery of self. You already have the power. What you need now is the discipline to direct it. Choose your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Every breakthrough, every change, every result you crave begins with what you allow your mind to dwell on. Hold it steady. Make it sacred. Let it lead you. Your energy was never meant to be wasted proving your worth to anyone. It was meant to be invested into becoming someone who no longer questions it. That begins with focus. The kind of focus that silences insecurity, not by arguing with it, but by starving it. The kind that doesn't flinch when distractions scream for attention. The kind that says no, firmly and without guilt, because your mission is too important to entertain what weakens it. This level of focus requires more than desire. It requires identity. You must see yourself as someone who values peace over popularity, depth over noise, and purpose over approval, because the truth is, you will never attract what you don't believe you're aligned with. You don't get what you want. You get what you're prepared to hold. And focus is the preparation for everything greater. If your mind is always open to everything, your power leaks everywhere. Focus is the act of closing the gates to what doesn't serve. It's a mental boundary, a sacred filter, a non-negotiable standard. You do not let every thought stay. You do not let every voice enter. You do not let every emotion lead. You assess, or you choose, you protect. This is how you stop reacting to life and start creating it. Not through force, but through control. Not through aggression, but through alignment. A focused mind is a powerful mind because it no longer chases. It builds, it no longer doubts, it decides, and it no longer hesitates. It moves. Distraction is easy. It feeds on comfort, on shortcuts, on excuses. But focus demands presence. It demands honesty. It demands that you face what you've been avoiding and do something about it. You can't heal in confusion. You can't grow in chaos. And you definitely can't rise while giving energy to what drains you. That's why your focus must be protected with the same urgency you'd protect your future, because that's exactly what you're doing. Every time you shift your attention back to your vision, you're saying yes to the version of you that's waiting to be built. This is not about discipline for the sake of perfection. It's about discipline for the sake of freedom. The freedom that comes when your mind is no longer your enemy. The freedom that shows up when you no longer sabotage your potential with inconsistent thoughts. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to show up, not from pressure, but from power. You stop feeling lost because you've anchored yourself to something bigger than your feelings. You are led by clarity. You are fueled by intention. You are focused not by force, but by choice. Every day you are becoming something. The question is, are you becoming that on purpose or by accident? Focus is your answer, not someday, now, because the life you want is already possible. It's just waiting for you to become consistent enough to receive it. Hold your focus, or keep your standard. Let nothing in that dims your fire.